Have you ever worked too hard for too little, only to watch someone take away the one reward you actually earned? I lived it. And it wasn't just about money. It was about dignity, justice, and the moment everything changed. My name's Terrell Washington. I'm 29 years old, and I work as a waiter at Hangawi Korean Fine Dining in Los Angeles. Well, I worked, because the night I'm about to tell you about wasn't just another service shift. It was the night an arrogant billionaire tried to destroy me, and a quiet stranger changed everything with a tip that saved my life. It was a Friday night in October, that kind of clear LA night where even the air feels expensive. Koreatown was buzzing like always, neon signs lighting up the streets, the smell of galbi and kimchi floating from every restaurant. Hangawi was the type of place where meals cost more than my rent, where rich men bring their trophy wives and businessmen close multi-million-dollar deals between plates of banchan and premium soju. I was working the VIP section that night, only the highest check tables. The clients who expected perfection and paid well for it, or at least they were supposed to pay well. Terrell, my manager Linda's voice made me turn. She was Korean-American, early 30s, had managed fine dining for a decade. Usually calm, but tonight, she looked nervous. We have a special VIP, table 9. He's demanding. I laughed. Everyone in VIP is demanding, Linda. I can handle it. She didn't laugh back. This one's different. Sungmin Choi, CEO of Chronotech, worth $3 billion. And he has a reputation for making or breaking servers' careers. Be flawless. My stomach tightened. I knew that name. Everyone in Koreatown knew it. Sungmin Choi was a legend, but not the good kind. Built his tech empire from 20 to 35, known for being a ruthless genius who tolerated nothing less than perfection, and known for treating service staff like disposable trash. Why is he here? I thought he only ate at his private restaurants. Business dinner, important investor from Seoul flying in. He wants to impress. She handed me a special menu printed on handmade rice paper. This is his tasting menu. 12 courses. Everything needs to be perfect. Perfect timing, perfect temperature, perfect presentation. And Terrell, he doesn't like when people look directly in his eyes. Consider it submission. Something about those words bothered me, but I needed this job. Needed the quarterly bonus coming next week. $1,500 that would get me out of credit card debt and give me a small cushion. Just one more night. Just be perfect. But perfect is never enough for men like Sungmin Choi. When I reached table 9, he was already seated. Korean, probably 36 or 37, thin but obviously fit, wearing a Tom Ford suit that probably cost more than I made in 6 months, Patek Philippe watch on his wrist, black hair perfectly slicked back, angular face, handsome in a calculated, cold way, eyes that evaluated everything as either investment or waste. Mr. Choi, I bowed my head the way Linda taught me, respectful, submissive. Welcome to Hangawi. I'm Terrell, and I'll have the honor of serving you tonight. He didn't even look up from his phone, just waved his hand dismissively, Swallowed my pride like he was swatting and away waited. a fly. 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes, just stood there like an idiot while he scrolled through his phone, completely ignoring me. Finally, he spoke, still not looking up. Water, room temperature, filtered, not from the tap, and make sure the glass is spotless. I can taste soap residue. Of course, sir. I turned to leave, but his voice stopped me cold. And one more thing. You're black, yes? I froze. The question hung in the air like a threat. Yes, sir. Good. My investor appreciates diversity, makes the restaurant seem more international. He finally looked up, and his eyes were ice. But don't embarrass me. One mistake, and I'll make sure you never work in fine dining again. Understand? My hands clenched into fists behind my back. Every muscle in my body wanted to tell him exactly what I thought of his threat. But my mother's voice echoed in my head. Baby, sometimes you gotta swallow the bitter to get the sweet. Pride don't pay bills. I understand perfectly, sir. For the next 2 hours, I was perfect. Every course came out at precisely the right moment. Every glass was spotless. Every dish was placed exactly where it should be. Sungmin's investor arrived, an older Korean man named Mr. Han, who was actually pleasant and respectful. They spoke in Korean, which I don't understand, but I caught my name a few times and saw Sungmin dismissing me with hand gestures like I was furniture. Everything was flawless, until it wasn't. Course 8 was braised short rib. The kitchen had plated it beautifully. Tender meat, perfectly glazed, garnished with microgreens. I placed it in front of Sungmin with the same care I'd shown all evening. He cut into it, took one bite, and his face transformed from neutral to furious in half a second. "What is this?" He didn't yell, his voice was quiet, controlled, which somehow made it worse. "That's the braised short rib, sir, prepared exactly to—" "Are you arguing with me?" His voice dropped even lower. "Are you a waiter, telling me, someone who has eaten at every Michelin-starred restaurant in the world, that I don't know when meat is overcooked?" Mr. Han looked uncomfortable. "Sungmin Shi, the meat is actually quite good. Perhaps—" "You're too polite, Hyung. This is exactly the problem with American service. No standards, no discipline." He pushed the plate away. "Take this back, and take 10% off my bill for wasting my time with subpar food." 10% on a bill that was going to be over $3,000. That would come directly out of my tip percentage. And worse, Linda had mentioned that if any VIP complained about food quality, it would affect my quarterly bonus. "I'll speak with the kitchen immediately, sir." I took the plate back, and Chef Kim, a 60-year-old Korean man who'd trained in Seoul for 20 years, looked at it and shook his head. "This meat is perfect. He's playing games." "I know, but what can I do?" "Nothing. Men like him, they need to feel powerful, making us scramble. That's how they prove they're in control." He was right. When I brought out a replacement from the exact same batch, plated slightly differently, Sungmin took one bite and declared it acceptable. Not good, just acceptable. Every interaction with Sungmin was a small humiliation. The water was too cold, then too warm. The lighting was bothering him. Could I adjust it? The music was too loud. Could I have them lower it? Each request designed to make me jump, to remind me I was beneath him. But I smiled, I bowed, I said, "Of course, sir," and "Right away, sir," until the words tasted like poison in my mouth. When the bill finally came, $3,200, I placed it in the leather folder with the usual Korean fine dining courtesy. Sungmin didn't even look at it, just pulled out a black card and dropped it on the table. "Process it. 20% gratuity. Standard." 20% of $3,200 was $640, a fantastic tip under normal circumstances. But as I walked away, I heard him tell Linda, "Actually, change that tip to 15%. The service was mediocre at best." 15%, $480. Still good, but the change was deliberate, a way to remind me he controlled even my tips. But that wasn't the worst part. After Sungmin and Mr. Han left, Linda called me into her office. Her face was grim. "Terrell, we have a problem. Mr. Choi called corporate. He filed a formal complaint about food quality and service. He's demanding that his meal be comped, and he's threatening to post a negative review on every platform." My world tilted. "Linda, that's insane. Everything was perfect. Even his investor said so." "I know, but corporate is panicking. Sungmin Choi has 2 million social media followers. One bad post from him could destroy our reputation." She took a deep breath. They're comping his entire meal, and Terrell, I'm so sorry, they're also pulling your quarterly bonus. They can't reward substandard service that led to a comp. $1,500. Gone, because a billionaire wanted to flex his power. That's not fair. I did everything right. I know, but that's the reality. I fought for you, but corporate wouldn't listen. Linda looked genuinely sorry. I'm really sorry, Terrell. I walked out of that restaurant that night feeling hollowed out, not just from losing the bonus, but from the humiliation, the powerlessness, the knowledge that men like Seung-min Choi could just destroy you for fun. My phone buzzed as I reached my car. A text from my mom. How was work, baby? You get that bonus yet? I couldn't even answer. But here's where the story gets strange and beautiful and so unexpected that even now I sometimes can't believe it happened. 3 days later, I got a call from a lawyer. Not just any lawyer. Harrison and Kim, one of the biggest law firms in L.A. Is this Terrell Washington? Yes. I represent a client who wishes to remain anonymous. They dined at Hangawi on Friday, October 10th, and witnessed your service at Hangawi. They were extremely impressed with your professionalism under, difficult circumstances. My heart started pounding. I'm sorry, who is this about? I'm not at liberty to say, but my client has instructed me to inform you that they have transferred $500,000 to an account in your name. I literally stopped breathing. I'm sorry, what? $500,000. Tax-free gift. No strings attached. My client believes you demonstrated extraordinary grace under pressure and wishes to reward that. This is a joke. Who is this really? Mr. Washington, I assure you this is completely legitimate. I'm emailing you documentation right now. The money is already in an account at City National Bank. You can access it immediately. I hung up thinking it was a scam, but the email came through from a verified Harrison and Kim address with bank documents, account numbers, everything, legal and official. I called the bank. $500,000. They confirmed it. The money was real. It was mine. No conditions. I sat in my apartment and cried. Not the quiet, dignified tears you see in movies. I'm talking ugly crying. The kind where your whole body shakes and you can't catch your breath. Because this wasn't just about money. This was about someone seeing me when I felt invisible. Someone caring when I felt worthless. Someone choosing to lift me up when the world had just pushed me down. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Text after text. My mom, my sister, friends asking if I was okay because I'd gone dark for 3 days. But I couldn't answer anyone yet. I needed to process what just happened. I needed to understand it. Because here's the thing nobody tells you about suddenly having money. It doesn't solve the hurt. The $500,000 sitting in my account didn't erase what Seung-min Choi did to me. It didn't take away the humiliation. It didn't fix the broken part inside that believed I deserved to be treated like trash. I called my mom that night, finally. Terrell, baby, are you okay? I've been worried sick. Mama, something happened. Something big. I told her everything. About Seung-min, about the lost bonus, about the mysterious transfer, about the $500,000 that appeared out of nowhere like something from a fairy tale. There was silence on the other end, long enough that I thought the call dropped. Mama? Baby. Her voice was thick with tears. God sees you. Even when you think nobody does, God sees you. My mother raised me in a small Baptist church in South Central L.A., worked 2 jobs after my father left, taught me that dignity wasn't about what you had, it was about who you were. And sitting there with $500,000 I didn't earn through my labor, I finally understood what she'd been trying to teach me my whole life. Value isn't transactional, it's inherent. Sung-min Choi couldn't take it away with his cruelty, and this mysterious benefactor couldn't give it to me with his generosity. I already had it. I'd always had it. But having someone else recognize it, that changed everything. 2 weeks passed. I didn't quit my job at Hangawi even though I could have. Linda was surprised when I showed up for my next shift. "Terrell, I heard what happened. The transfer. Everyone's talking about it." "How did you—" She said, "Koreaton's small. Word travels. Is it true? $500,000? I nodded. She pulled me into her office and closed the door. "Who was it? Who gave you that money?" "I don't know. The lawyer wouldn't say." Linda's eyes got distant. "I have a theory. There was another VIP that night, table 12, older Korean gentleman. He sat alone, barely spoke, but he watched everything. And when he left, he tipped 200%. The check was only $80, but he left $160 in cash. That's not normal." My heart started racing. "Do you remember his name?" "He paid cash, didn't leave a card, but—" She pulled out the reservation book. "He made the reservation under the name Han. Just Han. Ja Sang-han. It had to be. But why? What did he see in me that was worth $500,000? I spent the next week trying to find answers, Googling Ja Sang-han, reading articles about him, learning his story. And the more I learned, the more it made sense.
His father died when he was 8. His mother worked as a janitor to support 3 kids. Han started working at age 12, washing dishes at a restaurant, sending everyone he earned home to his family. Worked his way through school, started a small software company in his 20s with borrowed money, grew it into an empire through intelligence, persistence, and remembering what it felt like to be powerless. He never forgot. That was the key. Most people who escape poverty want to forget it, want to pretend they were always successful, want to distance themselves from the struggle. But not Han. He wore his history like armor, like purpose. And when he saw Sungmin treating me the way he'd once been treated, he decided to do something about it. But I still didn't understand the amount. $500,000. Why so much? What was he trying to tell me? I got my answer 3 weeks later when I received a letter. Not an email, an actual handwritten letter on expensive paper, in Korean and English. "Dear Mr. Washington, you don't know me, but I know you. Or rather, I know the person you showed yourself to be on October 10th at Hangawi Restaurant. I was sitting in the corner that night, watching. I watched you serve a man who treated you with contempt. I watched you maintain your dignity when others would have broken. I watched you be perfect, knowing perfection wouldn't be enough. And I watched you hold your head high even when he tried to crush your spirit. I saw myself in you. Not who I am now, but who I was at 22, working in a restaurant in Seoul, being treated as less than human by men who thought money made them gods. I made myself a promise that night, 40 years ago. If I ever had power, I would use it differently. I would remember. I would help. The money I gave you is not charity. It's investment. I'm investing in character, in dignity, in the kind of human being who can face cruelty with grace. The world needs more people like you and fewer people like the man who tried to break you. I don't want thanks. I don't want recognition. I want you to use this gift to build something better. For yourself, yes, but also for others who are where you were, who feel invisible, who wonder if their dignity has value. You showed me it does. Now show the world. With respect, a friend who remembers." I read that letter 50 times, cried every time, because he was right. This wasn't charity. It was a challenge, a calling, an invitation to be part of something bigger than revenge or payback or even justice. It was about remembering and choosing to use power differently. But I still had questions, and I needed answers, so I did something crazy. I went to Hansoft's LA office and asked to see Mr. Han. The receptionist, a young Korean woman with perfect English, looked at me like I'd lost my mind. "Sir, Mr. Han is in Seoul, and he doesn't take unscheduled meetings. If you'd like to submit a request, tell him Terrell Washington is here, from Hangali. Tell him I got his letter." She hesitated, then picked up the phone, spoke rapidly in Korean. Her eyes widened. She hung up and looked at me with new respect. "Mr. Han will video conference with you in 10 minutes. Conference room B." When his face appeared on the screen, I saw kindness before I saw power. Weathered face, probably late 60s, simple clothing, warm eyes that had seen both suffering and triumph. "Mr. Washington, I didn't expect to hear from you so soon. Mr. Han, I need to understand. Why me? Why so much?" He smiled. "May I tell you a story?" "Please." "When I was 22, a wealthy businessman threw kimchi jjigae in my face because it was too hot, made me stand there while he berated me. Everyone in the restaurant watched. Nobody helped. I went home that night and cried, not because of the physical pain, but because I felt like nothing, like my humanity didn't matter. The next morning I went back to work, smiled, served, pretended it didn't hurt, and I made a decision. I would become successful, not to prove I was better than that businessman, but to prove that success doesn't require cruelty, that you can have power without being powerful over others. It took me 40 years to build what I built, and I've tried to use it well. Scholarships, foundations, investments in people rather than just profits. But watching you that night, I realized I'd forgotten something important." "What's that?" "Individual acts of kindness matter just as much as systemic change. I can fund 1,000 scholarships, but none of them will mean as much as looking one person in the eye and saying, 'I see you. You matter. Here's proof.'" My throat tightened. "So this was personal?" "Everything important is personal, Mr. Washington. The $500,000 is significant because it has to be. $100 would feel like a tip. 5,000 would feel like charity. But $500,000, that's life-changing. That's someone saying, your dignity is worth more than any insult. Your character is worth more than any cruelty. And I'm putting my money where my mouth is." "What do you want me to do with it?" "Whatever you want. It's yours. But I hope you'll do what I did. Remember where you came from, and when you have power, use it to lift instead of crush." We talked for an hour, about work, about dignity, about what it means to be human in a world that constantly tries to dehumanize us. And at the end, he made me an offer that would change my life again. "Mr. Washington, I am starting a foundation to help service workers get education, start businesses, protect themselves from abuse. I want you to help me build it, not as an employee, but as a partner. You understand what these people face because you've lived it.
Can I ask you
Will
something
you help
first?
me?"
What happened with Seung Min, the deal that fell through? His face hardened. "I was considering investing $2 billion in Chronotech. After watching how Seung Min treated you, I walked away from the deal. A man who treats a waiter with contempt will treat employees, partners, and customers the same way. Character reveals itself in how we treat people who can't fight back." "Did he know why you pulled out?" "I told him exactly why. He laughed, said I was being emotional, said business and personal ethics are separate things. He was wrong. They're the same thing. And 6 months later, his company started collapsing. Turns out treating people terribly catches up with you." I felt a savage satisfaction at that, then immediate guilt for feeling it. "Don't feel guilty," Mr. Han said, reading my face. "Justice isn't the same as revenge. Seung Min didn't fall because I withdrew investment. He fell because he built his empire on contempt and exploitation.
I just refused to be part of it. And now? Now he's lost most of his wealth. His company is being investigated for labor violations. Former employees are speaking out about the abuse they endured. The tech press turned on him. He's experiencing what he made others experience, powerlessness. Do you feel vindicated? Mr. Hahn is quiet for a moment. No, I feel sad, because he could have been great. He had intelligence, ambition, opportunity. But he chose cruelty over character, and that choice destroyed him. It's a waste. That's when I knew I wanted to work with this man, because he didn't celebrate his enemy's downfall. He mourned the loss of potential. That's real power. That's real strength. I accept your offer, Mr. Hahn. I'll help you build this foundation. His smile could have lit up the room. Good. Then let's change some lives. The Hahn Washington Foundation launched 6 months later. We started small, 20 service workers in LA, provided education funding, legal support for workplace abuse, business startup loans for people who wanted to open their own restaurants or hospitality businesses. But something unexpected happened. Word spread. Not through advertising or PR, through whispers, through Korean restaurants and black churches and immigrant communities, and everywhere people work hard for little recognition. Through the invisible network of servers and cooks and dishwashers who text each other about which restaurants treat staff well and which ones don't. You hear about Hahn Washington? They actually help people like us. Within a year, we'd helped 500 people. Within 2 years, 5,000. Education, legal aid, business loans, mental health support for workers dealing with abuse-related trauma, advocacy for fair wages and working conditions. But the most powerful thing we did was something Mr. Hahn insisted on. Every person we helped had to commit to helping someone else. Pay it forward. Remember where you came from. Use whatever power you gain to lift someone else up. It created a ripple effect. A server we helped with tuition became a teacher who started a program for at-risk kids. A cook we helped start a food truck now employs 15 people and pays them above minimum wage. A bartender we helped escape an abusive workplace situation now runs a nonprofit supporting domestic violence survivors. One act of kindness multiplied by thousands, changing entire communities. But not everyone was happy about it. 3 years into the foundation, I got a call from a lawyer, not Harrison and Kim this time, a different firm, representing Sung-Min Choi. Mr. Washington, my client believes the Hahn Washington Foundation was created specifically to humiliate him. He's considering legal action for defamation and targeted harassment. I laughed, actually laughed. Your client thinks a foundation helping thousands of service workers is about him? That's the most Sung-Min Choi thing I've ever heard. He believes the foundation's origin story, which has been shared in press coverage, paints him in a false light. Everything we've said is true. He treated me terribly. Mr. Hahn witnessed it. We built something good from something bad. There's no defamation in truth. My client is prepared to sue for substantial damages. Let him try. I'll see him in court. And I'll bring every worker he's ever abused to testify. I'll bring documentation of every labor violation at Chronotech. I'll make sure the whole world knows exactly what kind of man he is. Does your client really want that? The lawyer was silent. Then, I'll convey your response. We never heard from them again. But a month later, I got a different call from Sung-Min himself. Mr. Washington, I'd like to meet with you. Every instinct told me to refuse, but curiosity won. Why? Because I owe you an apology, a real one, face to face.
I owe you an
Will you
apology.
give me that
A real
chance?
one, face to face. Will you give me that chance? Every muscle in my body wanted to say no, wanted to tell him where he could shove his apology, wanted to hang up and never think about Sung-Min Choi again. But something in his voice stopped me. Something broken, something human. Why now?
I asked. Why 3 years later? Because it took me 3 years to understand what I did, to face who I was, to have anything worth saying. Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet, not for him, for me, because I needed to look him in the eye and see if his remorse was real or just another manipulation. We met at a small coffee shop in Koreatown. Nothing fancy, nothing designed to impress, just neutral territory where two men could talk without pretense. When I arrived, I barely recognized him. The arrogant, perfectly groomed billionaire was gone. In his place sat a man who looked older than 39. Lines around his eyes that hadn't been there before, hair slightly graying at the temples, wearing jeans and a plain sweater instead of a designer suit. He looked diminished, but also somehow more real. "Thank you for coming," he said, standing up. His voice was quieter than I remembered, less commanding, almost hesitant. I didn't shake his hand, just sat down across from him and waited. He sat back down, fidgeting with his coffee cup. This man who once made billion-dollar decisions without flinching now looked nervous sitting across from a waiter he'd humiliated years ago. The power dynamic had completely flipped. "I've practiced what I wanted to say 100 times, but now that you're here, none of it sounds right. So I'll just tell you the truth. I was wrong about everything. About how I treated you, about thinking my money gave me the right to treat people like they were less than human, about building my entire identity on being better than everyone else." I stayed silent, let him squirm. When Mr. Han pulled his $2 billion investment, I was furious. At him, at you, at the universe for being unfair. I blamed everyone except myself. But then my company started falling apart. Investors pulled out. Employees started speaking up about my behavior. The tech press turned on me. Everything I built crumbled. And I kept blaming everyone else. The economy, bad luck, jealous competitors, anyone but me. He took a shaky breath. Then my wife left me. We'd been married for 4 years. I thought she loved me. Turns out she loved my money and status. When those disappeared, so did she. And sitting in my empty house, alone for the first time in my life, I finally had to face the truth. I destroyed my own life. Not you, not Mr. Han, me. Is this where I'm supposed to feel sorry for you? My voice came out colder than I expected. No, this is where I tell you I started therapy, where I unpacked why I became the person I became. And what I discovered was painful. He looked directly at me for the first time. His eyes were wet. My father was a factory worker in Busan, poor, uneducated. He worked 16-hour days in brutal conditions so I could go to good schools. And every day he told me the same thing. "Sungmina, you must be better than everyone. You must never be weak. Weakness gets crushed. Only the strong survive. Only power matters." Sungmin's hands were shaking now. "When I was 12, my father got sick, lung disease from the factory. He couldn't work. We had no money. I watched him become small, helpless, begging for help from men who looked at him like he was garbage, men with money and power who enjoyed watching him grovel. And I made a decision. I would never be powerless. I would never be the one begging. I would be the one with power, always." "So you became exactly like the men who humiliated your father?" He flinched like I'd hit him. "Yes, the thing I hated most, I became, and I didn't even realize it until I lost everything and had to face myself." "Why are you telling me this?" "Because you deserve to know it wasn't about you. You were perfect that night. Everything you did was flawless. I found fault because I needed to feel powerful. because treating someone badly was how I proved to myself I wasn't my father. I wasn't the weak one begging. I was the strong one crushing. And that's sick. That's broken. And I'm sorry. The coffee shop was quiet, except for the espresso machine hissing in the background. I studied his face, looking for signs of manipulation, of calculation. But all I saw was genuine
You tried to get me
shame.
fired? You made me feel worthless, and now you want forgiveness because you figured out you have daddy issues?
No, I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I just wanted you to know that I see you now. Really see you. Not as a servant, not as someone beneath me. As a human being I wronged, and I'm sorry. That's all. He pulled out an envelope. This is the bonus you lost. $1,500, plus 3 years of interest. It's not enough. Nothing I do will be enough, but it's something. I looked at that envelope and felt a war inside me. Part of me wanted to throw it in his face, tell him his money meant nothing, that he couldn't buy redemption. But another part of me, the part that sounded like my mother's voice, whispered something different. Everyone deserves a chance to be better. I took the envelope, not because I needed the money, but because refusing it would mean I believed he couldn't change. And if I believed that, then what hope was there for any of us? I don't forgive you, Sungmin, I said quietly. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But I hear you, and I hope you actually become the person you're trying to be. Relief washed over his face. That's more than I deserve. Thank you. Don't thank me. Just be better. To everyone. Not just to make yourself feel better about the past, but because it's the right thing to do. I'm trying. I've started working with Mr. Han's foundation, anonymously, donating what's left of my money, volunteering, trying to make amends. That surprised me. Mr. Han let you work with the foundation? He didn't know it was me at first. I used a different name. But when he found out, he didn't kick me out. He said everyone deserves a chance to change if they're willing to do the work. That's the difference between him and me. He leads with compassion. I led with cruelty. We sat in silence for a long moment. Can I ask you something? Sungmin said hesitantly. How did you do it? How did you maintain your dignity when I was trying so hard to take it? Because you can't take what isn't given. My dignity came from inside, from my mother teaching me I had value, from my faith telling me I was loved, from knowing that your opinion of me didn't define my worth. You could control my circumstances, but you couldn't control who I was. I wish I'd learned that earlier. I spent my whole life thinking power came from crushing others. Turns out real power is what you had that night, the power to face cruelty with grace. It's not too late to learn it now. Before I left, Sungmin said one more thing. Terrell, you probably won't believe this, but that night changed my life too, just in the opposite way. Losing everything because of how I treated you was the best thing that ever happened to me, because it forced me to see the truth, and the truth set me free, even if it cost me billions. Walking out of that coffee shop, I felt lighter, not because Sungmin apologized, but because I realized I'd forgiven him long before he asked. Carrying anger is exhausting. Letting it go set me free. His apology wasn't for me. It was for him, and that was okay. But the story doesn't end there, because 3 months after that meeting, something unexpected happened. I got a call from Mr. Han. Terrell, we need to talk, in person. Can you come to the office tomorrow? His voice was serious, almost grave. My stomach dropped. Had something gone wrong with the foundation? Was there a scandal? Had we done something illegal without knowing? When I arrived at the Hansoft office the next morning, Mr. Han was waiting in the conference room, but he wasn't alone. Sungmin was there too, along with a woman I didn't recognize. Middle-aged, Korean, wearing a business suit, carrying a briefcase. "Terrell, please sit. This is Attorney Park. She's here to help us with something important." I sat down slowly, looking between all three of them. "What's going on?" Mr. Hahn folded his hands on the table. "Terrell, I'm 81 years old. I've lived a good life, built a good company, helped a lot of people, but I don't have forever, and I need to make sure the foundation continues after I'm gone." My throat tightened. "Mr. Hahn, let me finish. I don't have children. My wife passed 15 years ago. My siblings are all gone. The foundation is my legacy, and I want to make sure it goes to someone who understands its mission, someone who lived the struggle, someone with the character to use power wisely." He slid a document across the table. "I'm making you the primary beneficiary and director of the foundation. When I pass, you'll have full control, full funding, the ability to continue and expand the work we started." I couldn't breathe. "Mr. Hahn, I can't." "You can. You must. This is bigger than you or me. This is about all the service workers who will come after us, who will need help, who deserve dignity. You're the right person for this job." I looked at the document, at the numbers, at what he was entrusting to me. It was overwhelming. "But why is he here?" I
Because
gestured
he's
to
made
Sung
a
Min.
significant commitment. Sung Min has donated $5 million to the foundation, and he's pledged to continue donating annually, with one condition. What condition? Sung Min spoke up. "That my name never be associated with it publicly. I don't want credit, I don't want praise, I just want to help, as penance, as amends, as the person I should have been all along." I stared at him. This man who once took away $1,500, now giving $5 million. This man who once crushed me, now trying to lift others. "Why?" I asked him directly. "Because you were right. It's not too late to change. And Mr. Hahn was right too. Everyone deserves a chance if they're willing to do the work. I'm doing the work, not for recognition, not to feel better about myself, but because it's the right thing to do." I looked at Mr. Hahn. "You trust him?" "I trust growth. I trust change. I trust that people can become better if they choose to. Sung Min choose to. That's worth supporting." Attorney Park opened her briefcase. "If you agree to take on this responsibility, Mr. Washington, you'll be signing contracts today. It's a significant commitment, life-changing. Are you prepared for that?" Was I? This was so much more than I'd ever imagined. Running a foundation worth millions, carrying on Mr. Hahn's legacy, being responsible for helping thousands of people. Could I do it? I thought about my mother, about the sacrifices she made, about the lessons she taught me, about how she always said, "Baby, we're put on this earth to help each other. That's the only thing that matters." "I'll do it," I said. "I'll honor your legacy, Mr. Hahn. I promise." We signed papers for 3 hours, legal documents, financial transfers, succession plans. By the end, my hand was cramping and my head was spinning. But it was done. I was now the future director of the Hahn Washington Foundation. As we finished, Mr. Hahn pulled me aside privately. "Terrell, there's something else I need to tell you, something I haven't told anyone." "What is it?" "I'm sick. Pancreatic cancer, stage 4. I have maybe 6 months, a year if I'm lucky." The world tilted. "Mr. Hahn, it's okay. I've made peace with it. I've lived a good life, done good work, and now I'm making sure that work continues, through you. That's all an old man can ask for." Tears streamed down my face. "You saved my life. You changed everything. And now I'm passing the torch.
That's how it works. We lift each other up. We pass on what we learned. We make sure the next generation does better than we did. You're my next generation, Terrell. Make me proud." I hugged him. This man who'd shown me more kindness than I'd ever known. This surrogate grandfather who believed in me when I couldn't believe in myself. I will. I promise I will. 6 months later, Mr. Hahn passed away peacefully in his sleep. The funeral was attended by hundreds of people whose lives he'd touched. Service workers he'd helped, employees he'd treated with respect, friends who knew him more than just a billionaire. I spoke at his funeral, told the story of how he saved me, how he saw me when I felt invisible, how he taught me that power should lift, not crush, that dignity matters more than wealth, that character is everything. Sung Men was there too, in the back, not seeking attention, just paying respects to a man who'd shown him what real strength looked like. After the funeral, Sung Men approached me quietly. "He was a great man," he said simply. He was, and he saw potential in both of us. Let's honor that. Today, 4 years after Mr. Hahn's passing, the foundation has helped over 75,000 people. We've expanded to 20 cities, we've changed laws about worker protections, we've created pathways from service jobs to careers, we've funded education, started businesses, provided legal support, and changed lives. Every person we help makes a commitment. Pay it forward. Help someone else. Remember where you came from. Use whatever power you gain to lift others. Sung Men has kept his promise. Anonymous donations every year, volunteer work, advocacy. He rebuilt his life not on crushing others, but on helping them. He'll never be Mr. Hahn, but he's become someone better than who he was. And me? I wake up every morning carrying the weight of Mr. Hahn's legacy. But it's a weight I'm honored to carry, because he saw something in a waiter struggling through a hard shift. He saw dignity. He saw worth. He saw someone worth investing in. The night that started with humiliation ended with purpose. The money that could have been revenge became redemption. The relationship that began with cruelty transformed into something approaching forgiveness. I still have Mr. Hahn's letter, the one that explained why he gave me $500,000. I read it whenever I doubt myself, whenever the work gets hard, whenever I wonder if I'm worthy of this responsibility. "You showed me that dignity has value. Now show the world." I'm showing the world, Mr. Hahn, every day, through every person we help, through every life we change, through every moment we choose compassion over cruelty. My mother cried when I told her about Mr. Hahn's death and what he'd left me. "Baby, you're walking in purpose now. Your Halmini Hahn raised you up. Now you raise up others. That's the circle of life. That's what we're here for." She was right. This is purpose. This is meaning. This is what actually matters. If you're reading this, working a job where people treat you like you're invisible, I want you to know something. You matter. Your dignity is real. Your worth isn't determined by how others treat you. And somewhere, someone sees you. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but someone will see you and recognize your value.
Whether it's money, influence, or just the ability to be kind to someone having a hard day, use it wisely. Use it to lift. Use it to help. Use it to remember what it felt like to be powerless and choose to be different. That's Mr. Hahn's legacy. That's what he taught me. That's what I'm teaching others. The tip that changed my life wasn't just money. It was being seen, being valued, being reminded that I was human and my humanity mattered. We can all give that gift to each other, every day, for free. And when we do, we change the world one act of dignity at a time. Want to hear more stories about unexpected justice? Keep watching, because these stories matter. They remind us who we can be.
Your dignity is yours. No one can take it unless you give it away. Remember that. Protect it. Use it to build something beautiful. And when you have the chance to be someone's Mr. Han, take it, because you never know how one moment of kindness will ripple out and change not just one life, but thousands.